you a quick question. Does anybody remember where they were on September 11th, 2001?
Yep.
The first person who comes up to the stage to tell me where they were will get this wonderful CD.
You didn't know nothing about 2011. In 2011, it's September 11, 2001, September 11, 2001, I was 10 days from graduating Marine Corps basic training. And kill, yes, that's what you do. So as a young 18-year-old, when I washed, I was actually in DC because that's where I'm from, that's my hometown. That was probably like the most shitty moment of my life. Because when I joined it, we were at peace. So not only were we now at war, but it hit like literally right at home.
Thank you so much for sharing. So, September 11th meant a lot of things to a lot of different people. To me, it represented something a little bit different. For me, it was the day that I checked out. It was the day I checked out. I grew up as a singer, actor, performer. I started when I was 4 years old. And when I was 10, I started on the audition circuit. Now, if any of you guys have been auditioning for stuff, you know that it takes a lot of dedication and a lot of work. Amen. I was going to 2 or 3 auditions a day, which meant I had no social life. I didn't get to do after-school activities. I didn't get to have a normal school schedule. It was really hard, but I loved it. My family sacrificed so much. They moved us out here from Fresno, California, just so I could pursue my dreams. 5 years went by of this, and I booked some guest starring roles in some small things. But I knew that I was going to need that big leading role to really break into the industry. And I was waiting and waiting, and everybody kept telling me, if you just stay on the train tracks, eventually a train will come. And finally, 5 years later, it did. That train came, and I booked my very first leading role in a major motion picture. There was two massive celebrities were set to play my parents. I was so excited. I went off, I practiced so hard. I spent months memorizing that script. I knew every period and every comma in that script. We went through rehearsals, hair, makeup, the whole 9 yards. And then, September 11th happened. And if you remember, everybody was afraid to get on an airplane. So I got a call 2 days before we were set to shoot. They said, we're sorry, the stars that were set to play your parents, they won't get on the airplane and fly to the location. And the money's connected to the stars, so no location, no stars, no money. Sorry, kid, no project. I was devastated, and I checked out. Now, nobody knew that I quit, because I still kept acting, I still kept auditioning. But the thing was, instead of giving 100% and giving 120%, I decided that since life wasn't fair, since I could work so hard, and still I couldn't win because life wouldn't let me win, what was the point of even trying? So I went to my acting classes, but I didn't pay attention. I went to my auditions, but I showed up late, didn't have my lines memorized. I checked out for 7 years. 7 years. And then one day, 2008, I'm sitting watching television, and the 2008 championship women's running was on. And there was this amazing race, and it's neck and neck. Now, any of you guys who know anything about these kind of races, you know that milliseconds matter. One of the girls falls, she face plants, and she becomes 5 seconds behind. And again, in this type of race, that is sudden disaster. She's done, she's lost. But that's not what happened. She got back up and she won the race. It went viral. Everyone was talking about this race, and everybody was focusing on the fact that this girl had fell, was 5 seconds behind, and won. But that isn't what I noticed. It wasn't that she won. It was that this girl had something very different than I did. She had the same exact challenge, and yet she came to a different conclusion. When life wasn't fair to me, I said, why even try? I can't win, why even try? But that's not what she did. She fell and she said, I'm going to have to run faster than I've ever run in my entire life. She was at the championships. Everyone's already giving 100%. She had to find that spirit inside of her. She had to find that place where she said, I'm going to give 120. And I thought about it, I'm like, wow, I want that. I want that spirit back. I want to try. So I went to the person that I knew had the most spirit that I had ever met. It was my uncle. He had fought in Vietnam, and every single person in his troop was killed. Every one of them. He was the only survivor. And it was amazing to me that there was so many people in life who, the smallest thing happens. They break a fingernail and they quit. Whereas other people can face these huge situations and still succeed. So my uncle, not only did he survive, but he went on to thrive in life afterwards. So when I talked to him, I asked him, I said, is this something that you were born with? Is this spirit something you were born with, or is it something that you had to develop? He said, please, yeah, you're right. Spirit is something some people are born with. But for the most part, it's something that you have to develop. He said, I made a decision on the very first day of training that any obstacle that came my way, I was going to go over it, under it, or through it, but I was not going to quit. And every single time that something came up, he didn't quit. And every time his will and his spirit got a little bit stronger and a little bit stronger until he thought that he could overcome anything that came his way. And he said, there's two things that come with spirit. He said, you have to have a vision in absolute detail of what you want to do and who you want to be. What you want to do. You have to have that vision so clear. It can't just be, oh, I want a house. It has to be, what color is that house? What does it look like outside? What does it smell like? All of the details. Who do you want to be? Take out the words, I'll try, and replace it only with I will. So I knew he was right. Oh, he looked at me first. He said, there's two reasons why people check out. He said, either one, they've lost sight of their vision, or two, they've lost hope in their vision. They lost sight because they were never detailed enough, or they lost hope because something in life happened to them. And he said, Lisa, it looks to me like you're having a problem with both of them. You need to go back, you need to re-see your vision, and you need to stop with this story you keep telling yourself about why you can't have it. So I had built lots of years of habits of negative patterns. So it took me a little while, but slowly and surely, one by one, I started overcoming obstacles, and I built my spirit back up until I got to that point that I was living at my 120% again. There's a quote that says, the greatest days of your life will be when you fall to pieces and you put yourself back together stronger than you ever were before. So I want you guys to imagine with me, what would your life be like if you never again used the words, I'll try, if it was only I will, if your passion and your vision was so clear that it woke you up every morning and just compelled you to action. Les Brown gave another famous quote. He said, I don't know what that dream is that you have in your heart. I don't know how hard it was as you've been working towards that dream, but I do know that you have to believe and that it's possible. It's possible for you to have your dream. So many people get up to the finish line and they quit right before they hit the finish line. They never even knew how close they were. If you guys have checked out, I encourage you today to find your spirit and check back in. Thank you guys so much.